What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Earn It, Save It, Invest It. If you haven't heard the breaking news, Hims and Novo just made a deal to sell the GLP-1 weight loss drug on the Hims and Hers platform. It's a surprising move. The stock just went up 40% after hours. So I'm going to be going over the deal, how it affects the business, and how it affects the stock. Whether you're watching this a week after, months after the whole deal, all of this information is going to be absolutely relevant, and it's going to be very important to how I break down how it's affecting the business and the history of the stock. It's going to break down the catalyst and how the stock really reacts to all of these big news stories, right? You might be thinking it only goes down, but I'm going to break it down. I have it all on a timeline, so I'm going to break it down very easy and as quickly as I can. So if you can, please give me a like and subscribe, and let's get to this now. So here's the deal, right? The deal: Novo and Hims, they end their feud and they will sell the obesity drugs together. This is by Bloomberg, right? So it's a big surprise. Novo Nordisk plans to sell the weight loss drugs on Hims and Hers platform, ending a highly public feud between the two companies that spiraled into a legal battle last month. Novo sued Hims because Hims launched their pill, right? The weight loss pill. Novo and Hims plan to announce a new partnership as soon as Monday. The two companies had a similar agreement last year, but Novo abruptly scrapped it after it accused after Hims refused to stop marketing and selling copycat medications. The partnership is a surprising move for Novo, which sued Hims in February for launching the weight loss drug, right? The pill. So again, very surprising. Shares went up 40% in after hours. This analyst says there's no other way to describe the Hims news as both a surprise and an unabashed positive for Hims stock. I mean, I was looking at Seeking Alpha and I saw my positions and I just saw the 40% in the after hours. I'm like, what is this, right? And quickly went, oh my gosh, this is crazy. So Novo's willingness to partner with the telehealth platform now is a sign that the drug maker is under mounting pressure to regain its footing. So definitely Novo was not they did not have the leverage going into the lawsuit. And that's what I was saying. I said Hims, with who they have running, Deb Otter, and the people that they have going, that it's just, they are not going to be doing something illegal. They have the advantage. And I thought maybe they might get a slap on the wrist because they were saying same active ingredient as Wegovy, which wasn't true and legal. So they might have gotten a slap on the wrist. But nonetheless, I thought Hims was going into the lawsuit, with a lot of leverage, and I think I was right. So this person, Hims House on X, they follow Hims very, very intensely. So they said, they think the business, the margins might be lower on this type of arrangement because who knows what kind of concessions of the compounded GLP-1s are going to make, right? Hims. The thing is, Hims, I don't think is going to make too many concessions and give up too much on their compounding, because Hims is their whole premise or whatever, that is about personalization, right? Personalizing your drug, and that's through compounding your drug. So, I mean, maybe Hims eventually just laid everything out to Novo before even the lawsuit. Was like, guys, you're not gonna win this. Like, look at what we're doing. Might as well just make a deal with us, because what they do is legal under, if it has a prescription under, from a valid doctor and everything, right? And but they say in the short run, it's likelier than not to be transformative for the stock price. Of course, the stock price is going to go crazy. Big reason: 80 million shares are short, about 40%. That's crazy, and it's all because of the Novo lawsuit, FDA, DOJ, SEC investigation. That was all because of the Novo. That's all probably going to go. I think that's just, it's going to be nothing. Maybe a slap on the wrist, like I said, for those advertisement stuff, but nothing crazy. So how it affects the business, right? So let's go over the business, right? Currently, what they just went and reported for their fiscal year 2025. They just did 59% year-over-year improvement, right? Year-over-year growth, 2.35 billion. The net income, not a lot, but they've been spending a lot. They've been investing a lot. So if you do follow Hims, you know that they have been spending all the profits. So it only went up 2%. The adjusted EBITDA went up 80% to 318 million. Operating cash flow went up 20% to 300 million. Free cash flow, though, went down 71% because, again, they're just spending all their cash. The subscribers went up 13%, even with the announcement with Novo, and then their partnership ending, right? And then the monthly revenue average for the subscribers is $83 per month, which was 28% year-over-year growth, which is really good, right? We're going to keep some of these numbers in mind because I'm going to kind of go over what we should be expecting for this next year and just kind of bare minimum. The revenue, this is really quick on how you can see just visually how it's been growing. Now, of course, here in the beginning, when you have a really small company that's only making 27 million, and then you go to 83 million, yes, of course, your percentage is up really high, significantly, right? But even as you're growing into like the billions in revenue, you know, that you're still growing at a 60s, 50s, you know, pace, that's still good. Now, obviously, it's going down a little bit, but when you the more money you're making, the slower your growth will be, right? The lower your growth rate will be. Their subscribers has gone out, like we said, you know, it's gone up, but it went up to 2.5 million. The revenue, again, $83 per subscriber, or $83 per subscriber per month. This is what they're expecting to make, 2.7 to 2.9 billion. This is about what I believe they can make on the bare minimum. They could actually be making more. And then just EBITDA is 300 million to 375, right? Now, this is, again, they announced all this before they made a deal with Novo. This is when they're thinking they're going to go into a lawsuit with them. They put their moving, it's all their plans, everything they have is moving them a step closer to their 2030 targets to 6.5 billion in revenue and 1.3 in adjusted EBITDA. So again, they're still sticking to their targets in 2030. Now, if we want to really figure out how much they can really make in this next year, right? I just asked quickly to get the numbers broken down. Company has 2.5 million subscribers and charges $83 per month, right? If the company grows at 10% on a compounded at, right? So it's kind of slowly growing every month. At the end of the year, it's grown 10%. And then their monthly subscription also 15%, right? Both of these are lower. These are on the lower side. What would the numbers look like? 2.77 billion in revenue, right? So the starting monthly revenue would be about 207 million, and then now it's about 262 million. So this is about how much they'd be making. So again, on the lower end, it looks like, you know, the end, you could be expecting about maybe on the low end average monthly for the subscribers, right? How much they're getting per subscriber every month is about $95, and they might be ending with about 2.75 million subscribers. Now I said, now do the calculation for 15% for the subscribers and 22% on the monthly subscription price, right? Because it went up 28% for the subscription price monthly, and the subscribers was at 13. So now subscribers is going up a little bit, right? But this is 2.99 billion. Now, if they have a deal with Novo and they're being able to sell the pill and all this stuff with no, you know, no resistance, I mean, they could be easily getting that much more, right? Their marketing is great. So let's just see exactly, you know, they could really do big on the subscribers. They could do better than 13%. And if they do, then you're looking around $101 per month per subscriber, and you're getting about 2.99 billion, right? So you're looking at these numbers, 2.7, 2.9, that definitely seems doable, if not maybe on the lower end, right? They could do that. So what everyone's here for, right? The stock. Right now, as you can see, Hims, $15, but then it went up about $6, 40% in after hours. The last year, right, it's gone down 54%. And again, short interest is about 36%. That's insane. That's insane. Trying to change the picture here. Okay, this is just quickly the seasonality, how it's gone, right? You look at these numbers. It is volatile. This thing does not. It's not a calm stock. This is not something for people who have high cholesterol or very old, right? This thing is going to go up and down significantly every month, it looks like. So I don't think March is going to be any different, right? March is going to look like, I mean, we had last January was 54%. 54%, right? And last month was 46% negative 46%. I mean, this stock goes, I mean, you could think about it, basically March could go up 100% and it's still just basically back to where it was in February. So the stock is all over the place. You have the bulls saying Hims is not dependent on the compounded GLP-1. They're also saying substantial catalyst for 26 and beyond. And the other one's the stock's evaluation. Oh, and then while the stock is stuck on short-term regulatory hiccups depressing the stock, then the bears stay and downgrading to a stock because they don't see any catalyst that could bring the momentum. Hims set to realize year-over-year deceleration in revenue growth, forcing a multiple that start. So all these people are thinking regulatory. There's no catalyst, right? I mean, this guy said has substantial catalyst 2026 and beyond. He's talking more about the other kind of stuff, right? Not the GLP-1, and yet all of the, even what the bulls are saying that the risk is now not even a part of it. The things that the bears are saying is now probably not going to. I mean, it is insane on what's going to happen. And again, you have about 36%, 81 million shares short. That is insane. Days to they're gonna have to cover all these shares. Yeah, when it comes to you seeing a short squeeze, I mean, that 40% on Monday is gonna be insane, but this whole week might be ridiculous. And this is one of the reasons why you're not talking about just anybody who owns these stocks. These are the institutions. They own 80% of the shares outstanding. You only have 44 million with everyone else. The institutions own 184 million of this. I mean, these are the ones that have money, and they're gonna have to buy all these shares. They're gonna have to cover their short. I'm loving it. I'm gonna start buying shares now because I already know it's gonna go up. This is from Stock Twits. It's, you kind of just get some like retail investors saying a bunch of crazy stuff. But Hims is a popular stock on there. And one day ago, it was at 39 bearish, and now it's bullish, right? 66. So it's, of course, going to go crazy. I'm going to go over quickly the history of the stock, and it's going to break down a lot about if you should be buying or selling, or not, if you should be buying or just watching, whatever, right? But quickly, the FDA declared a nationwide shortage on February 21st, right? So that it was over, that they resolved, right? That the shortage was resolved February 21st, right? So that hit the stock. April 29th, Hims and Hers made an announcement with Novo that, hey, we're going to do an announcement with them, but then it ended June 23rd, right? August, they experienced a lot of volatility, right? The CEO sells $33 million of the stock. Then we have security fraud, class action lawsuits, right? Because people are saying, hey, did you mislead people with the Novo deal? Because then it ended really quickly, right? So then there was just so much negative sentiment surrounding it. And then in October, the CEO sells more, right? He sells another 11. Then the CFO, he sells some shares. And then you have some regulatory pressures of, okay, what's going on with the FDA and Novo now, right? Because now it's like Novo's not just like not making a deal with you, but they're also pushing back saying you're doing something illegal, right? And then, of course, in February, Novo goes down because they launched their $49, weight loss pill, Hims and Hers, and then they got sued by Novo. So, to go over the stock, and so you can kind of get a clear picture of how this thing works, right? So it was going up back here in 2024, the end of 2020, the beginning of 2025, because they were having great numbers with the GLP-1, right? But then the shortage ended. The shortage ended, right? There was the shortage, and then it ended, right? It went all the way up to 70. Then the shortage ended, so then it went to about 51, right? The day of the announcement, it went to 51. It ended up going to about 25, right? $25. And then they announced when it got to about $35, obviously there was someone knew something, so that's why it kind of started pushing up. But $35 is when they announced the deal. Pushed all the way up to back into the 60s. The partnership ends. Now it's back at 45. But people are saying, you know what, maybe they're not just dependent on it. They can keep going, right? They got this. The stock pushes back up into the 60s, all the way up to basically 70. It touches 70. And it goes to $59 right after the CEO sells his shares, 33 million, and then the stock kind of continues to tumble. Stock pushes back up, tries to get a little bit of momentum, right? It goes all the way down to 41. Starts to get a little bit of momentum, goes back into the 60s. But when this was happening, I thought, and I even sold around here, I said, you know what, this seems, there's no positive catalyst right now for Hims. And this doesn't seem like this could be sustainable. So I actually sold a little bit right here. I sold some at 58. So yeah, right around here. And then the CEO, he sells more shares, 11 million. So it's just more negative sentiment. Now people are like, okay, what is really going on with the regulatory? Then there's just no good news about it, right? It keeps crashing. Over here is probably some technicals, like, okay, let's push the stock up for technical reasons, whatever. But no, it just has no momentum. It ends up going negative 75% in 134. Sorry, that's actually, no, that's not right. 134 days. It's actually 142 days, right? 142. Let me just correct that. 42 days. 75% in 142 days. Because right here, right, the Novo lawsuit, right here, it goes down to $17 after the Novo lawsuit. It's just horrible momentum. It's all the way here at the 14, 15 mark. Now we're bouncing up to the 22 mark because this is where they've now announced the deal. Here's something to keep in mind. It's been down 75% in the last 142 days. Let's add that 40% jump. It's still down 65% in 143 days. And that's not from the top. That's from 63. That's not from up here in the 70s, right? So this stock has a long way to go. A long way to go. If you were talking about this stock being, let's say the shortage, right? The shortage happened, and now they're thinking, okay, now they can't sell the generic compounded commercial, or not the compounded, they can't sell the generic commercial version. So then it goes all the way down. But then they make a partnership with them, and then it goes all the way up to the 60s to the 70s. Partnership ends, all of that stuff, but yeah, it's still kind of bouncing around to the 50s and the 60s. If this stock goes up to where after the partnership initially started and it bounces into the 60s to the 70s, I mean, you're looking at multiple hundreds percent, right? You're looking at 200, 300%. If it gets to 66 from right now, it's at 22. If it gets to 66, it's a 300%, right? Or is it 200%? I'm sorry. That might be actually 200%, just because you're going from, yeah, that would be a 200% gain. Right? 200%. That's insane. Now, is it going to go up straight to 200 or, you know, straight to 66? Probably not. But I mean, you look at these runs that it has, it spikes down. I mean, these are all just one day. These lines are just one day. So it spikes, it goes down, or it goes up. Right? This is a stock that goes all the way down or goes all the way up. And with a deal, now, I mean, you're taking the lawsuit off the table, right? You're making a deal with the people that are bringing some of the most pain to you. This is probably going to help tremendously, if not just kind of clear away all those other investigations from the FDA and the SEC and the DOJ. Like, you know, I was saying Deb Otter, she got put on to Hims, and they're not going to put her on. She's not going to agree to come to a company that's doing these bad things, right? So, I don't know. Looking at the numbers, I've been saying Hims financially is a good company. Yes, they've been investing a lot into their future, but they're investing. They're investing into their future for a lot of other drugs that have nothing to do with Novo. But, you know, their weight loss drug, they were compounding it, and Novo didn't like it, and so they kind of got heated. And like I said, I was saying Hims might lose the battle, but they are going to win the war. I think they won the war. I think this is it right here. And I mean, I was saying it, but this is an absolute surprise. I was planning on, you know, stacking up some shares for the next few months. You know, I was not planning. Now I'm like, I have to deploy. I do want to buy now in the young 20s, in the low 20s, right? So it's like, if I don't take action now, I do not see it being in the 20s for long. I don't. I don't. You know, looking at this chart, you know, if I just take away everything, I mean, look at this thing. It's just been on. It's been dead, right? It's going to be right here, right? This thing has so much room to run, so much room to run. If you can, I love a like and subscribe if you're still watching. It's about a 20-minute video, but I kind of broke everything down. Like I said, everything in here is still going to be completely good for the next few months, right? At least until they release earnings or maybe some really other surprising announcements, which I don't think anything's going to cap this. I don't think they're going to, you know, I'm definitely going to make another video once the announcement is officially made and they bring out all the details. I'm going to kind of really look into the details and, you know, kind of pick out all the very important stuff and then, you know, make a video about that. But most of this stuff, like I said, when you see the timeline of Hims stock and how it goes up and down and why it goes up and down, you can really see that Hims has potential to go up hundreds of %. So yeah. Please give a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Be aware, be prepared so you're not scared to buy that dip. And never forget to earn it, save it, invest it, buy low, sell high. I want assets, not liabilities, and you can count on compounded interest.